In jolly old England it came about that the land was fine, but there was no route for the fine old silks to go abroad. We could not take them out. We could not take them out. Well, John Bull's men came to the north of England to show their worth, to show those Latvians some steel. Across the border they went forth. Across the border they went forth. On Eden's ice they marched so brave. The Latvians they could not save. His towns we burnt, his people killed. Our flag so proud did wave. The Union Jack did wave. When Riga port was in our reach, the cruel winter it did teach. Oh, boys, that life is but a whim, and cold a soul can bleach, and cold a soul can bleach. The Russian bear, he smells our blood. He sees his chance with our senses dulled, and like a vulture at the kill begins the dance of death. Begins the dance of death. As the English boys limp to the border, with scarce a sign of their old order, with Lat and Rusky as their warder, the whole disgrace a cue for murder. The whole disgrace a cue for murder. Well, Riga is a fine old port with ships that sail across the world. We'll sell our silks, and when they're bought, have gold enough for food and pearl.
I must not lie here, but it's so comfortable and warm. Get up, you bastard! Get up! But it's warm here. I just want to lie here and sleep. Get up, you piss bastard. It is your duty to warn them. But we're defeated. The battle is lost. I just want to lie here and sleep. Come on now. Our leaders are honorable men. They would not abandon us. Up. Up. A few more miles and then the house. A fire. My woman. The warmth of her body. you bastard.
You are beautiful, Mom. Like a young girl. Not a blemish from the child. A sweet little man. He would be 6 years old. They've arrived, Mom. The guests are here. Those that are coming. Put your head back. Cook says they all came together. They must be frightened. All the rumors, Mom. This and that. This and that. They say it's not the party they came for. Cook says it's for the safety. All together in this house. They be looking to the master for guidance. He won't be guiding for a while now, Mom. You've exhausted him.
The excessive inclemency of the weather is quite without precedent.
It's certainly the worst I've known.
Walton, my good neighbour Walton, has just returned from Carlisle with some strange tale.
Oh, really?
The town is in a panic. Everyone's saying that Brook Village has been attacked and burnt to the ground by Latvians.
Latvians? Lord Harry, whatever next? Latvians? I wouldn't have thought Latvians would have had the courage, let alone the wit, to come over this side of the border.
I'm afraid that's really rather hard to credit, Mr. Smith.
Begging your pardon, Your Excellency, but my neighbour said there was little doubt in the matter. There was but one survivor. He hid in a tree and witnessed the butchering of the entire village. The women were subjected to acts of foul indecency, as is the way of soldiers.
Oh, really?
And then they and their children were bashed and spiked without feeling, until death mercifully ended their miseries and reunited them.
May God preserve us.
She's just frightened.
No, gentlemen. My neighbour spared me no detail.
As you do not spare us, Mr. Smith.
Janek, my dear chap.
Your neighbor, Mr. Smith, a reliable, church-going man.
Yes, sir, like myself, a devout man. He says it was the Latvians. Helped by Russians.
Russians, eh?
Das bekommt sehr interessant.
Come, Smith. What would Russians be doing in that part of the world?
The survivors saw it all. The last person to die was the village master. He was taken out of the village and hanged. Just before his execution, a Russian officer approached him.
Is your neighbor familiar with the uniform of a Russian officer?
My neighbor was only repeating the survivor's story.
As you, in your turn, repeat his.
It is a game of Russian whispers.
Just before he was hanged, the doomed man was made to listen to a proclamation read to him by the Russian officer.
In Russian, of course.
In both Russian and English, Mr. Laidlaw, sir. Otherwise, the village master would not have understood it.
Or us, for that matter.
My neighbor wrote down the proclamation as it was told him. And I have made a copy.
You have it, Smith.
I do, sir. I do.
I do not approve of the rumor. This is my house. And I do not approve. However, I do not want to spoil the party. It is New Year's Eve. Read on, Mr. Smith. Read on.
The Russian people deplored the cowardly and unprovoked attack by England on the Latvian peoples. The Russo-Latvian Treaty of November this year, 1884, declares all English persons to be enemies and therefore treated without mercy nor given trial. I hereby order you to be hanged. Long live Tsar Alexander III and the Archbishop of Riga.
God was on our side. I always felt that. Never doubted it, not for a moment. Until we took that fourth town. Or was it the fifth? About halfway to Riga, along the frozen Eden River. It was large, maybe 20,000 persons. Merchants, farm owners. A neat town. Soft. I'll never forget that big house burning. Oh, what a sight that was. The heat of it. Someone said it was a famous collection of books. The house was in a big square, and the heat from the fire melted all the snow in the square into a lake. And all the snow from the facing roofs came sliding off into the lake. It was like a strange springtime, but in the dark. The only light coming from the fire. I'll never forget. We took that town. There was no resistance, and we took it. Food, drink, and women. The spoils of war there for the taking. I took no women, but I held a gun to the fat merchant's balls. He thought his wife should be spared. He offered us money. We took it. He watched quietly, the tears rolling down his jolly red cheeks, while the men took her. They spared her life. I moved freely round the town while the big house burned. I spent some time in a house with others. In a house. And gradually the noises died down. The screaming, the laughing, the breaking of glass, the music, the gunshots, the crying, the whimpering. The fire died down. A solitary dog barked, and it began to be very cold. Everyone was sleeping or dead. The grey light started to come from the window. I decided to walk. Stiff with cold, I found myself walking towards that square where the house had burned. When I got there, it was gone completely. The great house had disappeared.
Eat your soup. What's the matter with you?
Bis morgen hört es bestimmt auf zu
Sake,
schneien.
woman, pull yourself together, will you?
Spätestens in 2 Minuten vor.
Hoffentlich ist es nicht zu spät.
Hab keine Angst. Es wird aufhören zu schneien. Ich bin ganz sicher.
Vielleicht sollten wir doch lieber heute Nacht noch abreisen.
Das wäre unserem Cousin gegenüber sehr unhöflich.
Ich habe ein großer Ärger für Countess.
Oh, General, so have I. So have I.
Yes, I thought something was smelling good.
I'm told the
but
place is a
General,
hotbed
that
of
is me.
perversion.
Bishop, I'm sure you try to frighten me.
Oh, no, my dear, I believe it to be true.
He's got a mind like a cesspit.
Young virgins sacrificed on the altar.
Priests and altar boys.
What did I tell you?
Acts of Satanism, witchcraft. God protect the young English soldier boy from those filthy Latvians, my dear.
Still has the smell of drink on it.
Is this,
Again, Mr. Smith's tale of the Russo-Latvian treaty, Mr. Ledwell?
No, Bishop. This is another tale.
Ah,
May I continue?
of course.
My head forester was travelling to the border and became caught in that blizzard last Tuesday. He went to the coach house at Rodham, and the landlord was pleased to see him. The inn has been deserted since the war, and the hospitality was, I suspect, liquid. Late in the evening, a young peasant woman from one of the villages appeared. She was travelling south, without a coat, her dress blood-stained. Understandably, she was near exhaustion and half dead with cold. The girl claimed that her village had been attacked by our own boys. Some 20 of the king's own border regiment had come into the village calling themselves communardistes. They took food and weapons from the homes. The girl's husband intervened and was killed. None of the other villagers were harmed, but forced to listen to another proclamation.
Villagers, fellow Englishmen, we, the communardists of the Border Regiment, invite you to join us in our common struggle. All over Europe, your brothers are fighting this same cause. We have no quarrel with the Latvians or the Russians. Our quarrel is with the English master. Today, one of our brothers was attacked by 2 members of this community. We had no option but to kill this man. His wife can expect no mercy.
No!
In this struggle, there is no room for the faint-hearted. There is no room for the coward who would wear the yoke of slavery. Englishmen, I invite you to join in this fight.
When we're both have gold enough for food and
She plays well, Cousin Frederick.
Berlin. Tell me, Count, you hear these rumors. As a Prussian, an outsider, what do you make of them?
Friedrich, misch dich nicht ein.
By herself, Latvia is not capable of war. She doesn't have the resources or the fiber. As you know, General, the Latvian army is considered something of a joke in military circles. It's my opinion the Russians are involved.
But we've no quarrel with Russia.
For many years now, the Russians have looked for a conflict on their western border, which would give them an excuse to expand their empire to the west. You English have given them that excuse. Das denkbar beste Weihnachtsgeschenk.
An excuse to move into Latvia?
Into England.
England and Prussia are allies. We backed you over Schleswig-Holstein, Austria. Moltke von Roon, they are our friends. Prussia has the strongest army in Europe. You are our allies. Prussia do?
Three months ago, work began on the Berlin-Moscow Railway. You'll remember, General, England was offered equal participation in the project.
We did not go in.
And why?
For reasons of pride.
Damn it. What will Prussia do?
Nothing. I'm afraid you're on your own.
Jetzt ist genug, Friedrich.
Why should they pick on us? We've got no quarrel with the Russians.
We must preserve our honor at all costs.
She offered her honor. They honored her offer. And all night long they were on her and off her.
Give them some money.
You could give them some women.
She began to climb, and I followed. Higher and higher we climbed. This part of the house had a slight musty smell, which mingled with her perfume. I felt intoxicated. At last, we reached the top of the stairs. She stopped. We kissed.
such a strange love, sexual love. It can derange love, sexual love. Some people die for sexual love, and we all strive for sexual love. When it's all much too much and you just got to touch her, you clutch at some straw, you must have her more. She's not just a whore that you meet in the doorway. The feeling's the same, you love her once more. Sexual love. Tells him some lie. She goes out through the doorway with her eyes to the floor. You stand and you follow, observing the sorrow. On his face there are tears. He loves her so dearly. This is sexual love. Fighting and squeezing is sexually pleasing. Sexual passion is always the fashion. Sexual magic is oftentimes tragic. Your sexual urge, a funeral dirge. Sexual love. 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 Sexual love.
Shall I prepare the opium now, sir?
We'll take it in the birdcage room.
We stayed in that Latvian town for nearly 2 months, frozen in by the winter. We lived in a big house just outside the town. Looting was now officially forbidden, and a kind of stability returned. We became bored and listless, spending our evenings drinking the free ale and talking of women. The few taverns were in the center of town. One evening I became morose. I fell into a black mood and could not shake it off. It was late, and I decided to walk home. To my fine house. To get to my house, I had to walk about 2 miles. 1 mile down a hill, the other up. The town and the house facing each other across a small valley. At first it was dark, and then the moon came out. It was bitter cold. I was about to descend the hill when I saw, some way ahead, another figure traveling in the same direction as myself, but much slower. I calculated that we would coincide at the bottom of the hill, and I hesitated, not wanting to meet another soul in the world.
Little one, I was beginning to worry about you.
My mood was blacker than before. Without really wishing to, I began to descend the hill. I saw that the figure ahead was an old man, very bent. He came closer, closer. He was without a hat. Suddenly came the desire to kill him. I was behind him. He was aware of me. He was terrified. I didn't want to kill him. But the thought was there. Like the devil. I felt my soul desert me. He slowly turned his face. I could not meet his gaze. Please don't. Please don't!
Good neighbors, I believe that our army is shattered and in retreat. I believe that the Russians smell our blood and have joined the Latvians. I believe that the Lapps have gained strength. and that Riga is still theirs. I believe that the English communardis are using the confusion to wreak havoc. And finally, I believe that the Lats and the Russians and the communardists and our defeating army are moving south across our border. And there is nothing we can do about it. Good health, neighbors. 1884.
The heat had made a lake. The lake had covered the spot where the house had stood. The intense cold of the night had frozen the lake solid. It was as clear as French glass. I walked to the edge of the lake and saw such things. Half-burned pages from books, bottles, documents, and of course, the dead. I saw the dead. Color stars were so strong. Men surrounded by smoky red clouds, suspended in their own blood. Part of them under the ice, clear and bright. Part of them out, whitened by frost and bleached of color and animation. Young girls, their petticoats swirling, caught in a photograph. The sight of that lake had a strange effect on me. I could not walk on the ice. I walked round and round, losing my sense of direction. It was so quiet. Everyone was sleeping.
Has a book more value than a life, 1,000 years of wisdom preserved.